Hello, everybody. It is me, Demetra Kane. I'm sitting here with Donovan, a recovering Democrat Sadiq, also known as the Black Yule Brenner. And the purpose of the Demetra K Show is to promote Black love, knowledge, and understanding of all things that go on in the Black community to make us an even better people, with the emphasis on even, because we're great people, but we can always strive to do better. Like I said, Big Giant, thank you, hello, and welcome to YouTube and Facebook. You are the other side of the conversation. Also, thank you to my wonderful moderators for everything that you do in holding down the comment section. Today, we're going to continue on a little bit from our conversation yesterday. In regard to the shutdown, of course, we heard while we were on here that they potentially have come to an agreement to open the government back up. Of course, you guys know that it has been closed still to this moment, about 41 days. They have not officially opened it up just yet, because they still need to vote and all of that. So it's still kind of hanging in a balance. So, of course, we're going to get into that. But the question that we're going to ponder is, or the situation, the Democrat Party losing the battle against Republicans after a 40-day shutdown. That's the consensus amongst a lot of people, especially Democrats, Shields, and a whole host of other people. They are not happy that there are some Democrats that acquiesce to that of the Republican Party. Of course, we'll get into all that in just a few. Donovan, what say you in the meantime?
What say me in the meantime? Welcome, you guys. Welcome back to this great conversation. I say a lot, and we're going to get into it. I want to hear what you guys really have to say, because we do a lot of speculation and talking here. But before we get into that, Demetra, great to be back on the show. We got a scrolling banner at the bottom there. And if you want to continue to have these great conversations, there's ways where you can contribute to keep the content creator motivated. And those are the ways you can do it. Cash App, PayPal, Venmo, Cash, Money Order, however you guys want to do it. Also, do us a favor, if you are interested, the African Diaspora News Channel app. Wow, we need to get our own app. We need to get our own Black Party. We need to get our own Black this. We have these things. We have these things. It's called the African Diaspora News Channel app. You can get it on Google Play, Apple Store. Not only do you see great videos from my partner here, Demetra K, you also get great videos from Brother Phil Scott, Vicki Dillard, Juan Gale, and a whole host of other content creators that are specific to the app. Now, I know a lot of you guys scroll YouTube and you see Demetra with the Emancipation Channel, 5-minute clip of her talking about a certain subject, Phil Scott, whoever, Vicki Dillard, whoever it is. But that is just the carrot on top of the stick, because here's the deal. There's exclusive content on the African Diaspora News Channel app, and the only way you're going to get it is become a member. So download the app, become a member. You could do it right here on YouTube. Again, knowledge is power. A lot of graduates coming up this year. The holidays are coming up. It is a great way for us to support a Black-owned platform. So please, Google Play, Apple Store. Politics is politics, Demetra. So it's going to be interesting. So let's get into this topic, because I have a lot to say about it. Because once again, we are told we don't know what we talking about. Y'all just this, that, vote blue no matter who. Y'all got to do this. The Democrats, who damn sure ain't fighting for Black people, sure ain't fighting for nobody.
Absolutely, Donovan. You want to tell the people about your shirt that you have on?
Yes. This shirt, for those guys that want to know what this stands for, we are not our ancestors. And it is a great shirt that was gifted to me from a good friend of mine. If you look at the, very, very good. And we also had a hat collection that goes with it. And I'm telling you, this is an excellent shirt. If you guys want to check that out. I'm trying to pump my chest out, suck my stomach in a little bit. But excellent stuff. If you're interested in a shirt like this, the website is right there on the chat. We'll put it in the link below. Again, support another great Black business. Has a lot of shirts and things that you guys can get into. So again, thank you, longtime listener, great contributor. We go way back. Like I said, Demetra and I have been doing this a very, very long time. We are not our ancestors. Check it out.
Absolutely. So again, that is Mr. Terry Beard. It is his Black-owned company, and he does T-shirts and things like that. And he gifted Donovan and I haven't worn mine yet, or my hat, but I will. But Donovan is wearing his, and he had his hat on earlier, which is nice, a bucket hat. But yes, he makes the shirt, so that we can partake in buying from our own people. He spends a lot of time and effort thinking about us. And shirts that we can wear. So again, we are not our ancestors, and it means a whole host of things, right? You could take what you want from that. Of course, we say that saying all the time. Of course, y'all know I always say, yeah, you're right. We're not our ancestors, because our ancestors wasn't no punks. Anyway, so yes, if y'all want to order a shirt, there's a website, www.wanoa.net. So anyway, let's go ahead and take that down. Now, who do we have here before we get started? Kevin, how you doing? African Native, what's going on with you? Mike, nice in the building. How are you? Rich, what's going on? Let's see. Don't believe media. What's going on with you? Albie, chill, Cloudness, King Noble, JJ, what's up? Troy, Chalk Chick, Priscilla, Sister Shirley, Arneba, Marjorie, how you doing? Long time no see. And Brother E, thank you so much for the super sticker. Love and appreciate you for that. I don't think Donovan appreciates your San Francisco 49er helmet, as he's a Dallas Cowboy fan. You do what you want to do with that. Anyway, Beverly, how are you doing? Hope you're doing well. Let's see. Mr. South Carolina, Enlighten, Lily, Demetra. I see my name in there. That's why. Sagittarius Goddess, how you doing, Dano? Hope you're having a great day, Sister Sunlight. Let's see. Sherry, Facts Not Feelings. And of course, and Black Women Stand Up. I will read you guys' comment. And Yusuf, what's going on with you? So anyway, let's go ahead and get started for the second time. Of course, you guys know that there was a shutdown that's going on and still kind of going on about 41 days to this point, because they still have not officially voted to really open up the government. Now, of course, y'all know that there was a government shutdown for 40 days as of yesterday, where the government essentially was not open, and there were people like federal workers not getting paid. They were furloughed, and some of them were forced to work anyway, like air traffic controllers. Of course, we also know that many recipients, 42 million of them to be exact, did not get their SNAP food stamp benefits, and just a whole host of other things that were going on, right? So, of course, that came about because the Republicans and the Democrats could not agree on a spending bill, continuing resolution to fund the government for the next year or so. So they were at a standstill. So, again, last night, it sounds like they came to a consensus. And I'm going to tell you what happened. So it says government funding will be extended until January 30th, 2026, so a couple of months or thereabout. It says to keep the government open while other spending bills are worked out. For the agencies not covered by the immediate full year bills, they'll continue at existing levels under the CR continuing resolution. Now, a minibus of a full year appropriations bill. It says the deal includes a full year appropriations bill covering the Department of Agriculture, Food and Drug Administration, the Department of Veterans Affairs and Military Construction, and related, the legislative branch, Congress's own operations. Go figure, right? Now it says these bills are intended to fund those agencies through September 30th, 2026. So essentially a year from now, give or take. Now the deal mandates back pay for furloughed workers and for those who continue to work during the shutdown. Rather, it reverses the notices of reduction in force that the administration had begun during the shutdown, restoring employment status as of September 30th, 2025 for those affected. It prohibits any new reductions in force in federal agencies until at least January 30th, 2026. Now, the deal also restores full funding for programs such as the Supplemental Nutritional Assistance Program, SNAP, for women, infants, and children, WIC program, which had been under threat during the shutdown. Of course, you know that they didn't get, what was owed to them, the food stamp recipients. It also covers assistance for states that stepped in to keep programs functioning while federal funds were cut or paused. Now, the deal includes a commitment by Senate Republicans via John Thune to hold a floor vote by mid-December on extending the enhanced premium tax cuts under the Affordable Care Act, a top priority for Democrats. However, this is important. The extension of those subsidies is not included in the funding deal itself. It's just a future vote. So as of yet, it doesn't seem like, the Affordable Care Act is even considered. The Republicans said they'll think about it, kind of, sort of, was kind of like a handshake, nothing official. Now it says while the Senate leadership and 8 Democrats agreed to advance the deal. Many Democrats opposed it because they felt the core health care demand ACA subsidy extension was not locked in. The deal still must clear the House of Representatives and be signed by the president to fully take effect. Now, because the health care subsidies aren't included, there remains a risk that the promised vote may fail, which means the deal could not meet all policy goals some Democrats wanted. So with that, again, the vote still has to come, to the floor. They're supposed to be doing it today, working on it. I don't know if that'll ever happen. So it has to go to the Senate, and then the House still has to, pass it. And as I said, then it has to go up to the president if that's something he wants to do. Now, there's been a couple of things that have transpired from Trump himself via Truth Social. He basically ordered the air traffic controllers back to work. He says, now you have to, that's what it said. And, you got to get back to work now. And then he says, for those of those who were faithful and did not leave and all that, that he is wanting, he's suggesting, he didn't order it, he's suggesting that they get a $10,000 bonus apiece for those who did not quit, per se. And he said, for those y'all who did quit, up yours, for a lack of better words. Now, he's also proposing a 50-year mortgage. Now, it's 30. But he's saying, hey, let's do a 50-year mortgage. But many people are saying, come on, man, cut the stuff. Because you know that if you propose a 50-year mortgage, that house will never be paid off. It is said that the average home buyer is around 40 years old now. So y'all do the math on 50 years, 90 years essentially. And if you do the math, you're going to be paying double for that house at a 50-year mortgage. So essentially it's just a bunch of bull caca, or whatever the case is. Some other things, of course, y'all heard about the $2,000 that he is wanting to send out to all low and middle income Americans. All this is just talk, nothing really set in stone. But I want to show y'all a video compilation of some people who had something to say regarding this whole little shutdown and the Democrats and, how everybody feels about it. So here we go.
8 Democrats voted with the Republicans to allow them to go forward on this continuing resolution. And to my mind, this was a very, very bad vote. What it does, first of all, is it raises healthcare premiums for over 20 million Americans by doubling, and in some cases tripling or quadrupling. People can't afford that when we're already paying the highest prices in the world for healthcare. Number 2, it paves the way for 15 million people to be thrown off of Medicaid and the Affordable Care Act. Studies show that will mean that some 50,000 Americans will die every year unnecessarily. And all of that was done to give $1 trillion in tax breaks to the 1%. As everybody knows, just on Tuesday, we had an election all over this country. And what the election showed is that the American people want us to stand up to Trumpism, to his war against working class people, to his authoritarianism. That is what the American people wanted, but tonight, that is not what happened. So we've got to go forward, do the best that we can to try to protect working class people, to make sure that the United States not only does not throw people off of health care, but ends the absurdity of being the only major country on earth that doesn't guarantee health care to all people. We got a lot of work to do. But to be honest with you, tonight was not a good night.
Look, don't let them spin you. The Democrats caved. People have been asking me, what Democrats caved? I want to know. We need to know. Okay, so these are the Democrats who voted to cave to the Republicans. 8 Democratic senators are Dick Durbin, Maggie Hassan, Angus King, Catherine Cortez Masto, Tim Kaine, Jeanne Shaheen, Jackie Rosen, and John Fetterman. They joined the 52 Republicans in this procedural vote to reopen the government without a guaranteed extension of healthcare subsidies. Just a promise to pick it up and maybe vote on it in December. Come on now.
For months and months, Democrats have been fighting to get the Senate to address the healthcare crisis. This bill does nothing to ensure that that crisis is addressed. I am voting no, and I will keep fighting. In another act of brazen cruelty, the Trump administration is going to the Supreme Court again to prevent hungry kids from getting fed. And instead of just feeding these hungry children, hungry veterans, hungry senior citizens, they're going to court again to ask the courts to prevent them from being forced to do this. The cruelty of this administration is endless.
Okay, so with that, you heard some key people, I would imagine. Don Lemon, of course, he used to be on CNN. He is independent now. Of course, you heard that of Bernie Sanders, who basically said this is not a good thing. It's a bad day. It's a bad deal to essentially bend the knee to the Republicans because it does leave health care at risk. And you heard the numbers, for millions of Americans. There is no guarantee that the Republicans would even do any of that. Of course, Don Lemon said that the Democrats caved. He named the Democrats, and they seem to be moderates anyway. So they could have gone anyway. And then, of course, there was Chuck Schumer, there. So you saw 2 videos basically, talking about the shutdown and things like that. And then lastly, he talked about Trump and them still wanting to withhold food stamp benefits from the states and stuff. And so I was like, well, that can't be right. And I looked, and the Trump administration is still appealing to they're trying to anyway now, the Supreme Court, because it did go back to the lower courts, and the lower court was like, nah, man, you need to go ahead and release these food stamps, because now you're really doing this for political theater and all this, that, and the other. So now I guess they're trying to take it back to the Supreme Court. But I'm thinking, all right, Chuck Schumer, so you're mad, about what's going on. And some people feel like that he is the puppet, that he actually sent those Democrats to go and do that, and then he could pretend like, oh my God, I'm mad or whatever. Because if you think about it, a lot of those Democrats, they won't be reelected until 2030. I think John Fetterman is 2028, so it's a long way off. So they could kind of bounce back from the backlash. But yes, there's a lot of people who are upset. But my thing is, when he's talking about the food stamps, well, Chuck Schumer, if you didn't have a deal, why are you complaining about Trump and them still trying to withhold the SNAP benefits from the states? Why are you complaining? You didn't go and try to make sure that a deal was, signed and all of that, all the things that you want. So, but again, maybe they won't, because they still need to vote. So anyway, we're going to see. The question is, was it a loss for the Democrats if they been like what's really going on? And then we can also throw in, well, what does that have to do with us as Black Americans? So Donovan, then I'll get into the comment section.
Yeah, did anybody notice that one of the things that Chuck Schumer kept emphasizing is, starving children and women and all that stuff, the fear-mongering thing of that. Now, it's kind of funny. This is the same man, along with the Biden administration. I'm not bashing Democrats. What I'm saying is, it doesn't make sense to me. You had no problem feeding between 11 and 27 million illegal migrants that came here to the country and putting them up in hotels all over the country. And now you're saying, because you can't get this bill passed, all these people are going to starve, and all these American citizens are going to starve, and all of this other stuff. It just doesn't make sense to me how you can say that in one breath, and then in another breath, you're saying something different. It just doesn't make sense to me. And you're right. I looked it up. None of those senators are up for re-election in this cycle. How many times have I told you guys political theater? We are looking at political theater. Are you entertained? Here's the question you got to ask yourself. And Donald Trump said this, and I know some of you guys get triggered when I say Donald Trump, but here's the point. Donald Trump has exposed a lot about how government works. This government in this reality, not how we want it to work, not how it should work, how it actually works. One of the first things Donald Trump said when he entered politics was he gives to both sides. He contributes to Democrats, he contributes to Republicans. Now, here's my point. When you contribute to both sides, since both sides have the same donor, there is no argument. So when there's no argument, when you're looking at the Republicans, they have their stance. Notice Republican stance did not change. They didn't have to back down because they knew it. But notice how the Democrats changed. Now remember, these people have the same donor. What is that called? That's called controlled opposition. They are playing theater, and they're playing games with American lives. Why would this man talk about starving all of these Americans and all this other stuff, but his party basically shut the government down? What about the people in the last 41 days that were living paycheck to paycheck? It just doesn't make sense to me. So let's hear what you guys got to say. I mean, I'm glad a lot of you guys are like us, and you woke up and you're seeing your red pill, blue pill, like in the Matrix. You're seeing what the world actually looks like versus what they're telling you what it looks like.
Absolutely, Raven. He says, thank you for your take on our ancestors. They were about that life. They stood 10 toes down and spine attack against all adversity. The white media, not about to tell that. Yeah. But of course, unfortunately, some of us run around talking about our ancestors was punks, right? Oh, they just led. It's like, shut your mouth, right? You don't have the heart, the spine, the stomach, nothing that our ancestors had to endure. Because like you said, they don't tell us about the ones that fought back. They might let Nat Turner slip out, but there's so many other rebellions that took place. They can't have you thinking that, because they don't want you to think your ancestors wasn't no punks. So absolutely. Pop, how you doing? Says, I don't like, you know what, you better knock it off. You ain't gonna act right. Also, I should say that, Adelita Gravala, she is the representative from Arizona. She will be sworn in today. Now that is important because she makes the 218th, I guess, vote that they need to release the Epstein files. Now it's taken about 40 days or so for Mike Johnson, the Speaker of the House, to swear her in. He's supposed to have been did that, but for whatever reason, they kept on going on breaks and the shutdown and stuff. So it sounds like she will be sworn in. So it'll be interesting to see if she'll vote with everybody else to release the files. So just something else interesting that took place. Sister Shirley says a 50-year mortgage is a scam. This is only beneficial for the banks. Come on now. There you go. The banks are going to, I mean, they say a $400,000 house with a 30-year mortgage is what, about $465,000, give or take. But at 50 years, you're looking at over $800,000 for that house once interest and stuff is paid off. And like I said, you know, who want to be 90 years old still getting after it to try to pay a mortgage, you know? So yes, Daryl, how you doing? Says Bernie, the town crier. Wow. Brother James, how you doing? Says we have a big problem here in Chicago when it comes to Brandon Johnson, and we can't give him any type of room to breathe. Yeah, stay on him. Stay on him. I got a story coming up about him one day this week, so stay tuned for that. Calvin, how you doing? Hope you're doing well. Says Bernie has dementia, babbling all the time. Nothing said. You know, shout out to Bernie. I think Bernie is one of the last. He tried as long as he could, and I'm really trying to be careful how I say that, because Bernie is an independent, right? But of course, he went over to be a Democrat, and that didn't work out for him when he was running. I think Bernie, you know, he ain't for reparations for Black people, whatever the case is, but you know, big ups to him for pretending to fight. I don't know what Bernie is doing at this point. Don't need, how you doing? Hope you're doing well. Let's see who else we got on here. Black Wolf, what's going on? It says Democrats are mentally challenged. They all mentally challenged, and it's all a game. It's all a game, you know, to make the voter believe that they got a dog in a fight, and they really don't. You know who your dog is supposed to be? Your dog is supposed to be that person you voted for to go to Congress and work, but that dog is lazy. That dog don't hunt. That's what the old people say. Priscilla, how you doing? Says he's a part of the Billionaires Club. They're getting checks, and I'm sorry, I don't know who that is. I'm sure it's somebody we talked about. Jerome would say the Republicans aren't going to want to give them anything. Why would they? You know, you've already tapped out. You said, "Oh, okay, well, we'll acquiesce." Why would, you know, we got everything we want. It was just a waste of time at this point.
Dimitri, remember Mitch McConnell? He said, Obama, you should leave it up to the people for that Supreme Court pick. And Obama, oh yeah, maybe you're right. Stole the Supreme Court pick from Barack Obama and laughed about it. So why would you even think that the Republicans, again, performative theater, are going to do what they say they're going to do? We might think about doing a vote to extend the ACA. Why not do this? Hey, ACA is messed up. We gave the power, too much power to the insurance companies. We need to redo this to make it work. Let's just give real universal health care to the American people. Notice nobody's saying that, but they have a healthcare system that they're on that works for them. Make it make sense.
Yeah, and Kevin, you said don't believe one word. Chuck Schumer say he's a snake in the grass. Chuck Schumer needs to be primary. Chuck Schumer is playing both sides. Chuck Schumer is a weak milk sop, a gutless, spineless leader. Yes, there's a lot of people asking for him to step down. I mean, I think it's a time for most of them in his age bracket to step down. No shade to them. But it's just time, right? Of course, they were mad at him because he tapped out when for the big, beautiful bill. When that drama was going forth, he tapped out. So, yeah, some people are saying that he is weak. I was listening to Hakeem Jeffrey earlier, and he said some of the people that voted with the Republicans to, you know, essentially open back up the government, one of them is new, and he said, I don't even know her. I haven't even had a talk with her, so I don't, you know. So it's like, okay, if y'all supposed to be the big guns in the Democrat Party, why aren't you talking to all these people to make sure that they're on the same page?
Now, why don't you think about this? You talked about the big, beautiful bill, how he tapped out. As a minority leader, why did Chuck Schumer even let this come to a vote? He has enough senators to where he didn't even have to let this come to it didn't have to come to a vote. Why did he let it come to a vote? See what I'm talking about? Performative. I know people say, well, he doesn't control the House. The Senate doesn't work the same way as the House. They have different rules and different procedures. As a minority leader, you have to have so many votes where you can stop a bill from being voted on. Chuck Schumer had so many tools to use, but like in the big, beautiful bill, he refused to use them because these people have the same donors.
Yeah, it's all games. Animal Advocate, how you doing? Says, so is the government open now? Are they giving the SNAP? Is not what is it helping if it's not open? So it's not open right now. They still, as of when we came on here, it sounds like they were going to vote. So I don't know what happened if they actually did, but as of now, it's not technically open because it still needs to go through the Senate and the House, and all of that. But it sounds like the Trump administration is still fighting to not give the states the SNAP funding that it needs. So yeah, it doesn't sound like the SNAP is going out as of yet. So
yeah, technically the government is still closed. They still got procedural things they have to do. The government cannot open until the president signs the bill. So they've got to go through a few steps, vote on this stuff, then get it to the president's desk. So you're looking technically, there's talking about maybe if everything goes the way they want it to go, no later than Friday.
Yeah, so it's, sounds good or whatever. And my thing is, he ordered the air traffic controllers back to work. He said, now. I'm like, sucker, you need to put a check in my account now for I show up anywhere, right? Yeah, he tore into the people who stopped showing up to work, called them everything but a child of God. So yeah.
Yeah, now remember when this happened before in our lifetime, Demetra, when the air traffic controllers were acting up? Ronald Reagan fired every last one of them and brought in the military to take over the towers. So, yeah.
Yeah, but you know what, though? I don't blame him. You need to run me my money, okay? Run me my money. So Outside Sports, how you doing? Says, even though our ancestors fought, they lost, their legacy ended. We are their children of the punks. I'm just trying to decipher your statement there. And let's see. Iron Man, how you doing? Says, I was on the couch until Crapola, my God, told me no. So look at me. I did this to you. Cut the check or suffer again. Yeah, that's really where it should be. What's in it for us at the end of the day, right? Sister Sunlight says, Bernie is a play the game ninja. Yeah. It seems like it, right? I mean, he could have stayed independent and he might have did all right when he was running to be president. He had a lot of, motion behind them, but I guess not. African Native says the East Indian pay off their mortgage fast because the whole family contributes to one mortgage payment. Yeah, absolutely. They practice group economics. Jay Bubba says, I can never take a political party seriously that believes that men can get pregnant. Oh, Lord.
Yeah, and you guys got to understand these other groups, let's take the context of being an FBA or whatever you want to call us, lineage-based blacks here in America. We're the only group that was intentionally messed with where our culture and everything was stripped from us. These other groups, none of that was stripped for them. If we didn't go through the chattel slavery, I don't think we would be the way we are right now. We would be practicing group economics, better than we, already have, and the ones that did in the 60s and all the way up to now. So we always got to keep that in the context. We are a version of ourselves that we are here is intentional to what happened to us, because if any other group went through what we did, they wouldn't be doing what they're doing.
Absolutely. Nyla, how you doing? He says, Democrats are not fooling anybody. They are supporting these billionaires, corporations, and health insurance companies. Kamala was boasting about her primary supporters during the presidential campaign. Shaking my head, the Democrat primary concern is AIPAC and illegal immigration. Both Republicans and the Democrats' primary concern is AIPAC. There's this thing on a page on Twitter, it might be everywhere else, that's called Track AIPAC, and it tells you all the candidates who have received money from the organization AIPAC. So they're both very invested into, or in AIPAC is invested into both sides of the aisle. Enlighten says, I'm for universal health care as long as I get my employer's contribution to Medicare back. Okay, so you're saying that you want it back, that if you pay into it. Yeah, I mean, they figure out everything else, right? We have, and I'm assuming you're talking about taxes. I could be wrong, but we pay taxes into everything else that we never get a dime of back, like all the money we give to other countries. So Interesting. James says Democrats are truly rats. Well, damn. Edward says depends on your state. Some states are giving out snaps. So yes, I think they said like 20 of them have. So it's like a lot of back and forth because I think it was Thursday, Friday, they were told that they can do it, but then the Trump administration, appealed and all this other stuff. And so then they were told via that of Ketanji Brown Jackson, that's her job to oversee emergency petitions. She says, well, yeah, let the lower court handle it. So she gave it a stay, which means that she kept the pause on the food stamps going. So yeah, but some of them like, I don't care. Brother James says, Mr. Farrakhan said that the politicians are like prostitutes. I like when Trump told them, I don't want your money. Yeah, but see, if you think about it, and yes, the minister said that, but if you think about it, he says, I don't want your money, but whose money does he want? Because he's gotten a whole lot of it from the short time he's been in office, whether it's been from news stations, colleges, the government itself, overseas. Of course, he's saying he's not getting that, but God dog it, a $400 million airplane that ain't free. So yeah, he's not getting a check to be the president, but boy, they said that he and his family have been enriched to the tune of billions so far.
Jared Kushner got $4 billion in the last administration. Who knows how much he's gotten now that he's hidden himself away doing whatever he's doing.
Yeah, so he's getting $400-something thousand as a president. He's like, that's a quarter pounder money to me, Big Macs. It's ketchup. That's my ketchup supply every year. Priscilla says certain states have their SNAP benefits as of today. Yes, so it's still a lot of back and forth as to what's going on. Elle, what's going on with you? I hope that you're having a great day. Let's see. Who else haven't I seen? I'm gonna put you on mute there, Donovan. I got you. Let's see. Raven, you say we will own our own property free and clear. If our mortgage is paid off, we no longer have to pay annual property taxes. Taxes get behind. They can seize the property. Still, a person hits 60, the property and land should be the owner's, free and clear. Totally agree with you. Anthony, how you doing? Says found your Facebook. It's Outsider Sports from YouTube. Woohoo! You found me on Facebook. I'm not really on there a lot. Every once in a while, like when I do this and every once in a while, but I'm glad that you found me. Kev J says, hey, Donovan, you're a veteran. Do you use the VA as your primary medical insurer or a private? You can't unmute yourself? What about, hold on. Now?
Yeah, there's something going with my mouse or something like that. But yeah, no, I use the VA as a secondary. I have TRICARE for life, whatever that crap is that it's really no good in here in California. You tell people you got TRICARE from the military here in California, they tell you to get the hell out of their offices. Because the problem with TRICARE when it comes to these doctors is the fact that they want to bill a certain amount, but the government's only going to say no. So let's say your doctor bills $100. But the government says, well, we're only going to pay 60. Yeah, they don't want your business. So I use the VA as secondary. So I always tell guys, if you're a veteran, have that VA as your secondary. And if you are at 60% or whatever it is, you appeal. The system is designed to say no. And Demetra was right there when I went through my trials and tribulations of going through mine, and I'm at 100%. So again, you're not a doctor. Let them do what they got to do. But yeah, it's very good to have a backup plan to your backup plan, because that TRICARE here in California, don't even get me started on Delta Dental. Don't even get me started on that. So anyway.
Which reminds me, happy anniversary, Marine Corps. Yes, indeed. Was it 250 years of the Marine Corps, who has partially made me the woman I am today. Now, some may be wondering, did you serve, Demetra? I absolutely did not, but I was there to support the troops in the best way that I could. You go, you can do it type thing, right? And my daughter's father is a Marine and all of that. So yes, I've been on a couple of Marine bases just to see how everything was going, make sure if they needed me to advocate for them for anything. So yes, happy anniversary, birthday, whatever it is, to the Marine Corps. Woohoo! Anyway, yes, Gerard, he says Trump is demanding some states return the SNAP money paid out, which is like, what are we doing, man? What are we doing? You're talking about giving the air traffic controllers $10,000 bonuses. Okay, it was 13,000 or so of them that were working without pay. Okay, so you're talking about giving them $10,000, but then you fighting like hell to keep the food stamps. So like, what are we doing? Like, what is going on here? What is this about? Right? So I don't know. And then you're doing all of that before the vote. What if some of those Democrats change their mind and say, no, you're a douche? I'm going to change my mind, right? It's just weird. It's weird. One Unique Monique, how you doing? Says, once again, the Democrats have sold out the working class. None of these demons are for you, are for re-election. You says, and Durbin is retiring, all that stalling and nothing accomplished. They've all sold out. Neither one of them are for the working class, because the Republicans, as much as they say, oh, well, we're trying to do A, B, C, and D, but the Democrats won't let us. They know they got people on their side of the aisle that's starving and needed those food stamps, and veterans, and they knew all of that, but yet they still are, finger pointing. But this is actually what they're doing, right? They're pointing the finger at each other. So as much as I don't mess with the Democrats, I think the blame should be assigned to all of them, because they all have people that they're supposed to represent in their district, and they won't do it because they playing games. So yeah, Kev J, he says, yeah, but of course the ketchup crew. Kev J says private insurance is getting extremely expensive out here. Yeah, it says some cases it's tripling for some people. So I don't know, people don't want to have that conversation, but a lot of people will die if they cannot get their needed health care and things like that. So why is this to me even a conversation? I don't understand it.
Yeah, and let me add this for you guys that are veterans, or if you're related to a veteran. If they get to 100%, a lot of veterans don't know this. I didn't know that until I got there. Once you get to 100%, you get your government ID card where you can travel, space all over the United States. Great. But the biggest thing about getting to the 100% is you get your dental for free through the VA. And because of Donald Trump, if the VA takes too long, you can outsource it to a dental place. You can get your teeth done out there. You can get your implants done, all kinds of stuff. So the thing is, they know Black people, we get discouraged really, really fast. Do not get discouraged. The goal is to get to the 100%. When you get to the 100%, if you're married, 30% will get your spouse benefits as well. She'll get benefits once you get to the 30. But when you get to 100, not only do you get your injury fixed or managed, you get your dental completely free. So if you got, don't want it, please, some of you guys, some of my fellow veterans, brothers and sisters, don't be going into your 70s missing your teeth and all this other stuff when you don't have to do that. If you get to the 100%, you can get your teeth fixed through the VA at no cost to you. Get to the 100%. Keep fighting.
If you don't keep fighting, you ain't gonna be able to keep chewing. Deacon, thank you so much. I love and appreciate you. Says the government still closed. Technically, yes, they're supposed to be voting to open it back up, but it's not open just yet because some people could change their minds. Right now, I want to go back up. Yes, hoorah to the Marines and all of that. Hey, Avenger Ancestor, how you doing? Yes, indeed. Let's see. So I want to go here. I like this comment. African Native says the rich does not eat more than $50 a day in value for his meal. He says the poor spends approximately the same amount. Of disease does not discriminate between rich and poor. There is no symptoms for the rich. It does not discriminate between the rich and the poor. But if you're rich, you have a little bit more resources to buy healthier foods and things like that. There used to be a time back in the day, where the rich had gout. Gout, of course, is when you have, I think it's you eat too much meat, protein, or whatever, your feet and your ankles swell. The rich used to have gout and the poor did not, right? They had some other things, but they were not fat, overweight. But now it's the other way around because the rich have learned that in order to be here to spend this money, I need to preserve my health by eating, fruits and vegetables and, meat here and there. But you're right, it doesn't discriminate. But I think we got to throw in that money does matter. Of where you're going to be shopping. Now, yes, people who are getting food stamps, they can, buy better things or this, that, and the other. And that's not to say a lot of people don't. Again, we just talk about the people we see up in the store, with baskets full of stuff, but that doesn't mean that's everybody who does it. But I get what you're saying, nevertheless. And Lord Flawless, it says, I bet the same folks hyping up this fake 3-eye atlas Spaceship probably still thinks the government's out here flying for them. I don't know what they think, but it remains to be seen. It was supposed to be here now, wasn't it? Or it's on its way, or it's closed.
Actually, Japan released some pictures that our government won't release, and of the spaceship, and it looks like a spaceship with windows. It does. I saw something.
I mean, I'm just saying, you know, if it's supposed to be coming here, ain't that them releasing pictures or not ain't got nothing to do with it. You know, we'll find out. I'm just saying, if they come into the United States, y'all know where y'all need to go. It's that big house that's like this, and they're doing some renovations on the back. They're making a golden ballroom, right? So go there. Go there. Let's see. And James, you say I battled cancer 4 times. Woo! Well, you know, Godspeed to you. It says 4 times, and I know what it's like to fight like hell to get the best cancer treatment and living with a pre-existing condition. Yes, and that is true. Before the Affordable Care Act, Obamacare came along, a lot of people with pre-existing could not get health care. They were denied because you've already had something and you're a risk. And it's kind of like with life insurance. They find out that you have something like that, or you're a risk as far as you drinking and driving, or you're a criminal and things like that. They deny you because they consider that to be a situation that you had before, and you're a risk. Insurance companies, no matter what they are, they make money when you live, and you keep paying on the policies. So with life insurance, they make money the longer you live, not that you're going to die, you know, a month or 2 later. So yeah, that's the one thing people don't consider as well with the Affordable Care Act, that a lot of people who couldn't get it before, they removed that barrier. So yeah. Don't Believe Media says quality over quantity. It depends on what you're talking about. Molly Cakes, how you doing? Maya sister says, in an odd way, Democrats pitted federal workers against civilian workers. Says federal workers get their full health benefits. Civilian using ACA are out of luck. Not begrudging federal workers, not fair. I see what you're saying. I don't know how much they're pitted against each other because neither one of them have any control over who gets what, right? So it wouldn't be the federal workers' fault or the whoever, you know, for getting the better option. I guess it's the people who are making those decisions. But I get what you're saying. Don't Believe Media says Blue Beam in effect. Project Blue Beam, rather. Silky Danielle, what's going on with you? Says put a check in the mail. Absolutely. Jerron says that's a disco room Trump is having built. Like, cause what's going on? They said it's damn near as big as the rest of the White House. So what exactly are you going to be doing in this ballroom? And you know, I saw him fall asleep the other day. So it's like, how much dancing you gonna be doing, homie? And I seen your ankles; they pretty swollen. So how much dancing are you really going to be doing in this ballroom? And what is it really? You know, right. Yeah, I guess he can sit down and do that, you know. Enlightenment says there are plenty of people outside of the ACA who can't afford health care, and the premiums are increasing for those not having ACA. Does anyone care about them? I mean, you know, it depends on what the situation is. I think we can have a larger conversation, because I think we're having an all or nothing conversation, that if you can get health care and those who have to pay more, that nobody should get it type of thing. I think in an ideal world, and Donovan people talk about all the time, healthcare for all, right? Why does this even need to be an issue? I know in places like Canada, they get healthcare, you know, but we're having this. Now, see, that's where the pitting is right there. Well, if I can't get it, well, you can't get it either. It's like, but again, and I'm just having this thinking out loud. There's so many things that our tax dollars go to, and don't nobody say a peep. Nothing. But like I said, we always, not you Enlightenment, but I'm just saying in general, we think too much on an individual basis. And for example, like I said, we think about people who are getting food stamps and who may or may not be doing the right thing, the social, you know, they're getting socialism per se, but we don't think about the corporations that's getting socialism. We talk about our tax dollars going to somebody to help them get health insurance, but we don't talk about it going to Israel, Argentina, and Ukraine, and all these other places that are getting your tax dollars. So I'm like, not you in line, but I'm saying in general, why don't we raise the roof about it all? But me personally, I'm not going to be mad about somebody being able to see, like, if I can get health care, if it's on my job or whatever, and I'm getting it, I'm not going to be mad about somebody being able to get health care because of my tax dollars. I'm just speaking for me. let's see. Buckhorn says he on his way out, the Trumpinator. Hey, he might be. He was extra sleepy, boy. I'm like, damn. He was.
Did you get that video I showed you where he was out and the guy was talking and Trump was just out?
Yeah, I saw that. It was like almost the whole time. He just. They even called his name a couple times, and he just sleepy. He ain't got the nerve to be calling Joe Biden Sleepy Joe. It's like, well, what they calling you, Trump? You know what I mean? It's crazy. The drowsy Don. I don't know. That's some old people stuff right there. Just like you in front of the whole world, homie. You in front of the whole world, and you gone. You done counted like 19 sheep and jumped across, and RFK, and you talking, and you falling asleep, and somebody else getting up there. I mean, it was boring, but damn. Give you some no-dos or something, some toothpicks, keep your eyes open. I don't know, put some sunglasses on, right? Now that's weekend at Bernie's right there, okay? I don't care what nobody says, that's some week. They need to get him a different chair. Not like the recliner, the one that's comfortable. Get him one, a hard one he got to sit on. I don't know. Yes, one who cares. To the best moderators on YouTube. Yes, indeedy weedy. Oh, my dad used to always say that. African Native says a cancer took the life of a friend of mine in a span of 9 months from the diagnosis. This was my first time to see someone with cancer. The disease is reckless. Yes, we lost my dear mother from cancer. She had colon cancer. She had a bout with it once, colon cancer, and she beat it and everything. Then a few years later, it came back, unfortunately, with a vengeance, and it spread. So yeah, I know about, cancer, and what it does. One moment you see your loved one that's vibrant and things like that. And then, right before they take their last breath, they're in a sense unrecognizable. So yes, cancer is a horrible thing to do to the person, and a horrible thing for people, loved ones and things, to see that person in that state. So yeah, I don't wish that on anybody. So I get it.
Yeah, real quick, for you guys to see me wrestling with this cat, you guys got to understand, he usually doesn't do that. All the animals are in the room because I was gone for a week. And if you're a pet lover or whatever, you got animals, you guys know when you're gone, they want to put their scent back on you and all that other stuff to claim you and stuff like that. So that's why he's acting, because he usually doesn't do this, but I've been gone a week. So
yeah. Maya, it says, Dimitri, much respect. I disagree with you. All citizens should have access to affordable health care regardless of employment status. I agree with you. There's no debate with me there. I totally agree with you. I don't even think it should be an issue. I mean, we're talking about people who are sick and they need health care, whatever. I don't think anybody should have to sit and ponder if I should go to the hospital or not if I'm not feeling well. I think that should be a right, especially when we afford that to be a right for other people. So there's no disagreements with me from that. I pay taxes. And like I said, I mean, I wish that everybody could get health care, but I'm not going to complain. And I'm not saying this about anybody else who's speaking about me, about people who are able to get health care that otherwise could not afford it, especially if I can get it, even if I have to pay for it. I'm not saying it's nice to have to spend a lot of money on healthcare, but if somebody else could do it, God bless them. That's just kind of how I feel about it. Raven, how you doing? Hope you're doing well.
I'll tell you what, my animals have better healthcare than I do. I'll tell you that.
As they should, right? Run his pockets. Raven says, wait, what, Trump got caught slipping a few times. He's been dozing off, but this last time was really obvious. It wasn't, I was checking my eyelids to make sure they're okay. Or, I was looking down to see if my shoes were tied, and looking to see how swollen my ankles are. Nah, he was knocked out. And it's like, I don't know if you're like RFK and them, just like, do we tap them? What do we do? Mr. President? What do we do? Just let them sleep, and they let them sleep. See, if I was Trump, I would have read them for filth after we got off of there. Why you didn't wake me up? You knew. Yeah, he is just bad. Arlene, how you doing? Hope you're doing well. Edward says these are just grumpy old men. Yeah, it's like I need to go take a nap. Like I said, I don't take naps. I just never been a napper at all. I just don't. But man, when it comes to the end of the day, I can't imagine getting on a plane to be traveling all over the world and doing this, that, and the other, and talking to a whole bunch of people all day long. I don't know. I would just be rubber stamping stuff after a while. Yep. No. Yep. No.
That's why they have a problem with the auto pen under Joe Biden. They don't know who was signing what.
I mean, Trump got the same thing. It's, who's got the key to his back. Raven says Trump was on Monday night. Oh, you mean okay, let's see. It says Monday Night Football and was asked by the announcer how many touchdowns in high school did he score. Trump said probably none. First once of truth from his devilish tongue. He was probably cut from as the water boy. I couldn't see him playing football, whatever the case is. But speaking of which, he was booed relentlessly last night at the Washington Commanders game. I don't know who they was playing, but he was reading some and they were boo. Bro, you can't even hardly hear the dude. It's like, yikes.
And you want to know what's crazy about that? As this shutdown is going on, his numbers were tanking. And then the Democrats give in. His numbers were tanking.
Yeah. But you think about the demographics of a football game and the people who are there. That's people from all walks of life. And I tell you what, those boos were loud. You couldn't even hear him read at all, So I think if that doesn't tell you the temperature of the country and how people feel about him, I think that's very telling. I think it's very telling.
See, but the thing is, no matter how they feel about him, he's in his second term, and it doesn't matter. He could have the lowest ratings ever, and he'll just go out when his term is over, unless they're going to try to impeach him, which would be stupid because he's on his way out. That's why people got to understand, if you don't get what you want from these presidential candidates in their first term, you're not going to get it, especially as a Black person.
Absolutely. Hey, average logical thinker, I hope you're doing well. Kev J says the government didn't put any premium restrictions on the insurance companies so they can increase the premiums at will. And they do, right? Now, of course, you heard Trump also. It's like, dude, is he trying to move the utopia, do utopian things? Or I'm going to have that premium money go back to the American people. It's like, if you don't knock it off. Brother James says, I agree with that. Our American citizens should have affordable care. It's wrong that Democrats like J.B. Pritzker spend over $3 million for illegals and our people are sick on the street. Cruel. Yeah. Gavin Newsom was trying to do the same thing. $2.6 billion for undocumented people. That's what they said, undocumented, no matter what your status is. But they backed up off of that because it's like, yeah, we can't justify that. Now, if Kamala would have won, yeah, that probably would have happened. Shannon, how you doing? Hope you're doing well. We are doing well. How about yourself? Sister Shirley says, I take short naps myself. That's what older age would do to you. I just don't be tired like that throughout the day, but I go to bed early as well. So yeah, I don't naps. If I take one, I didn't mean to. It's a Trump, right? It's a, oh, damn, how long was I asleep? Type thing. And usually my daughter will say 5 minutes. So I just don't take naps. I'm sure I will once I get older. Mad Dog, how you doing? Hope you're doing well. Kelly says Trump talked all that smack about Biden and only do the same thing. Yeah, I mean, it's like, come on, man. His people ain't ish. Because how y'all not wake him up? Don Ready, how you doing? Hope you're doing well. He says Detroit. Bokar says, I was at a game. So you was at a game? Okay. Yeah, Mad Dog. Trump is a funny guy. He don't give a damn at all, right? African Native says, I believe that the cancer is caused by all radio frequencies surrounding us because every single magnetic field induces currents in our body brain. I mean, you might be on to something. It's a lot of things going on. Enlightened says, I raise hell against corporate welfare, spending my tax money overseas for any reason. I believe everyone should be treated fairly and not some people's needs should be put on Front Street and not others. I mean, I agree with you. Everybody should be treated fairly, but that's not the case. I mean, I don't know. I'm glad that my tax dollars can go and help people do what they need or whatever the case is. And I just hope that one day we can all get to that point to where everybody could go to a doctor, no matter what your social status is, how much money you making and all that, because I think people should have the right to be okay and seek medical attention and not have to debate whether that's something they can afford to do. So, yeah. Laura Flawlessly says Trump said he prowls around like a roaring lion. seeking, you know what, you better stop seeking whom he may devour. Oh, that was the devil. I was like, damn, he said that. To Hada, yes, a sleepy Demetra. I do okay throughout the day. I don't really be tired, which is weird. I don't. Ma, how you doing? He says, hey, Buck Horson. So I think we got down to the bottom. So Donovan, what say you before we get out of here?
Well, let's say before we get out of here is this. Some see the world the way it should be and what it's supposed to be, and some see the world the way it is. The fact is, we have to look at the world the way it is, not the way we think it should be, because that's the world we operate in. Now, every one of those congressmen and senators need to be fired, because in this world, in this country, there is no reason for the government to be shut down on political pointage. It makes no sense. Like somebody said in the chat, if a war broke out in some part of the country, there's no study being done on it. Money is just pumped out and just given. No questions asked. Where is this money coming from? But when it comes to the American people, oh, we're counting every penny, every nickel, every dime. How many of you guys remember, and we said this yesterday, all of those 80,000 IRS agents that Joe Biden hired to shake you down and take out every penny out of your pocket while he funded other groups of people and sent money overseas? The reason I'm bringing that up is this is the type of stuff that we have to call into question when it comes to our representatives. These people are not leaders. They are our representatives. They are no different than you having a lawyer. A lawyer is going to tell you what the plan should be, but at the end of the day, you have to make the call. Until we are willing to do like these other countries in France and all this stuff and take back the power, we're going to continue to go through this. And again, they shut the government down. What penalty are they going to pay? Not one.
That is absolutely right. And I was just reading here. It says that I guess Mike Johnson is still refusing to make a vote on extending the Affordable Care Act subsidy. So it still is in a balance. So I guess maybe we'll know something tomorrow as they're supposed to vote today. Whatever the case is. Yeah, but I agree with you. It's holding your elected officials accountable, right? Hold them accountable. It's not Democrats did this or Republicans did this. They did this. They did this. They played games with the American people, their livelihoods. They didn't care that people did not get the nutrition that they needed via those food stamps. They didn't care about the air traffic controllers working without a paycheck, not one, but two. They didn't care about the people who were furloughed, who had to have conversations with their landlords. Hey, I don't have it right now. And the landlord saying, too bad, you're about to get evicted. They didn't care about that. But the truth of the matter is they got their paycheck. They didn't have to decide if they were going to eat. Their biggest thing was, what are we having for dinner, right? Not, are we eating? Because see, I always say, if you are blessed to say, what are we eating, opposed to, are we eating? Man, you better thank your lucky stars. And I think about that all the time because everybody ain't having that conversation. Everybody's not saying, I feel like a piece of chicken or a nice, piece of steak. No, everybody's not saying that. Some people are saying, I wish I had something to eat. And they knew that a lot of people, at least 42 million Americans, were having that situation and they did not care. They did not care for not just one day. They didn't care for 40 days. And they still may not care right now because it sounds like they don't agree whether they'll pass a vote or not. But at the end of the day, if you had somebody that you voted for and you saw them go do that, the next time they're up for re-election, you might need to think about that. There is no, I'm sorry, let me fix this, or would this and that happen? No, you didn't care. And if you were not affected by the food stamps or being furloughed or whatever it is, your fellow Americans were affected by that. And so I know there's a lot of people who agree. Well, that, we got to hold the line because they're very partisan and things like that. But see, what they're not telling you is they also know somebody that was affected by that, but they just don't give a damn, right? So yeah, they're supposed to be in Washington to do for the people, not the people sitting around hoping that they're going to do. You are an employee. When you are given a task, you think about it. Those people that are Washington employees, they essentially filled out an application, say, hey, I want the job. Okay, bet. They did the interview. You're supposed to, right? Interview the people, the voters interview them, say, okay, bet. You are a guy. You are a girl. We're going to send you to Washington. And you go in there and sleep on the job, literally. You go in there and sleep on the job. You ain't going to keep an employee on the job that's sleeping and not working. Are you going to continue to write them a paycheck and reward them with a job? Nah, you're going to get them up out of there, you know? And when unemployment calls say, nah, they got fired because they wasn't doing the job. So we got to look at them that way. But again, if they keep getting back in office, that's not their fault. It's ours. So anyway, I'm African Native. Thank you so much for that love and appreciate you. And Sunlight says the boycott should still be on. Yeah, it should still be on because they still playing games. I totally agree with you. If you're going to boycott, yeah, that should be it. My aunt, he says American government has no love. It's all about themselves. Democrats, Republicans, neither one of them cares, period. Nope, they don't. But when the American people wake up to that, then they'll go to Washington and do the job that they're supposed to do. But right now, not only just Trump, you know, they're likening him to a king, but they're all kings and queens in their own mind, because only a king or a queen, whether you're a congressperson or a representative or a senator, will go home and eat a meal while their constituents' bellies are aching, or their children. You don't give a damn about the adults. What about the children? Right? So there you go. Albert Chin says, I just looked up the Japanese 3-eye atlas pictures. Yeah, I have to look that up. Unicorn Squad, how you doing? Says, shutting down the government for Obama. People held Joe Biden accountable for nothing. Okay. Yes, indeed. So anyway, I would love and appreciate every last one of y'all. I will be back here tomorrow. Also, join me on the African Diaspora News Channel at 11 a.m. Central Time to continue having a great conversation. So anyway, you guys have a great rest of your evening. Peace.